What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from Team Generations, and today we're back again with another video. Today this is going to be part 1 of 2. This is going to be a tier list for the upcoming meta for Springfest. So BSF is coming up, and I know Toronto is going to be in early March. However, the majority, I believe, of like Asia, Europe, and the United States, North America in general, are going to be kind of in the DBT-09 meta. So I am going to basically be going over that and some of the decks coming up as well. So I also want to introduce 2 of my teammates. You guys have probably heard them talking before if you followed the channel for a while. We have Alec, Mr. Oatman on Twitter. You want to say hi?
Hello. I am Alec, also known as Ootman. Topped a few times here and there, been on the channel a few times. Happy to discuss the Overdress meta. Very exciting things coming up as well.
Yeah. And then also Jake. I think you've heard Jake a couple times too.
Yeah, I've been here and there. And I'm just happy to be here.
Cool, we're happy to have each other. So let us go into it. We're just going to deep dive starting off, and you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can.
All right, perfect. So the Dragon Tree, I guess we're going to start off hot. Numero uno, where are we placing this? Because honestly, I haven't looked into it in like a real competitive lens for like anything serious. So I'm going to defer to you guys on this one. Where does this go?
I guess I'll start off because I've actually been messing around with it a little bit here and there. I know the best way to play it right now, the general consensus seems to be with Dragon Empire. You know, you play with the Esper Ardeas, and you get that huge payoff on turn 6 with the Overtrigger. You get 8 attacks thanks to that, but you also then get a little pressure beforehand thanks to the Esper Ardeas being able to restand early on, and you can just call them down. So I think that's probably the best way to play it. There's some other funny things with like Heater and Brentgate, but with the Dragon Empire, I'd say even though that is the most playable, it's still probably maybe lower B, maybe even in C. It's still, you know, a turn 6 deck for its payoff, and it is a little fragile early, so I'm going to say probably in C. It's a fun, interesting deck, but I don't think it'll see much competitive use.
Jake, you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I think you also go Dragon Empire because of the early game guarding potential, because you just have more defensive options as well.
Okay. Cool. Moving on to Welstra then. So Welstra, I know when it gets new stuff in DBT-09, right? Or like a promo or something?
Yes. So it gets a triple rare and then the grade 2 product.
Okay.
And then there's a promo coming out, but this is
probably an A, right?
Yeah, for sure. I'd definitely put in high A. I think the set 9 stuff is a huge buff for the deck. Turns it into, it really solidifies what the deck wants to do.
Gotcha.
And just lets it do it much better.
Okay.
And you've got the multi-attack, you've got the power, you've got the negging the opponent. It's just a lot more solid.
Nice. Ava, I don't think there's any debate really. It's still one of the best decks. I'm going to toss this in S over here. Over here, Gravidia. Gravidia's in a weird spot, right? I don't know what to kind of call this, because chime in. I mean, you could still flip, you know, 2 yellows and win the game kind of
I
deal.
would consider it competitive, maybe on the lower end, but I think just because of what it does, you know, it draws 2 on ride, it can flip yellows, it can just end games, especially in a team format. I don't think something high roll like that is bad to have on a team.
Okay.
So I'd put it in A.
Nice.
Alright, let's keep it there. We'll have the idea of lower A. I honestly don't know too much about the robot, the restanding guy. I think it's probably floating between B and C though, from what I
put it in B. It's probably going to be on the lower end later on, but it can play the game. It's an Overlord clone.
Okay.
It struggles a little with numbers, and overall it's just a little boring in my opinion, but it does what it needs to.
Heroes are actually... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sadly, I don't think Heroes is going to be anywhere but D.
Really? Because don't they get something that actually makes it like...
They get a card in set 9, which helps, but I would still put it in D, honestly. I don't think they'll see much play.
Okay.
Still just doesn't do enough.
Alright. Well, don't play then. I don't know. This is the new one coming out. This is the Deer Days one, right?
No, this is the Brentgate promo
right.
that checks top 5 for set orders. If we even get it, you know, this is one of the few on this list that we don't actually have released in English yet, but if we do end up getting it, it will probably just be D. it doesn't really do enough. It's too inconsistent. Relies its entire game plan on its check top 5 to see like 3 or 4 set orders.
Okay. No.
At that point, you have such low guard power that what are you doing?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you basically need to be playing like at least 15 set orders, which leaves not a lot of space.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. This is Mr. Orphis, right? Orphis Regis. So
Yes,
I actually think this was a big surprise and a dark horse, obviously, over the past worlds, but I think this is probably an anti-meta and rush, because this is one of the few like actual viable rush decks now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that you play it because it's good itself. I think the way that it fits into the meta, it doesn't do anything outrageous, but it fits very well into the weak spots in the armor of the top decks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like we'll talk about in a bit, once we get to Chrono Jet. Chrono Jet is kind of like the big deck to beat, and with that, like some decks, especially Orphist, that can rush, just slap down cards from turn 1. Those will be a lot of decks that can sort of crack through and shine to just try and kill Jet before it reaches its scaling. So I think Orphist works perfectly in that anti-meta / rush spot.
Cool. Finishing off Brancate over here, we are looking at Prison, and I'm tempted to put it in B for playable.
I wouldn't hate
I think
that.
it's in a little weird spot. It's definitely playable. I think in the meta it struggles because it has really poor matchups into something like Jet and especially Eva. So I'd probably put it above Vanguard just because it is strong at what it does, but it's definitely a little undesirable against the best decks.
Okay, so yeah, let's keep it there in B then. Moving into Dragon Empire, so I definitely know a little bit more about these boys over here. Oh wait, we still have one. I didn't even notice the Brancate. Do I have any other ones? Any stragglers over here? But the monsters deck, I don't know. Is this?
I'd put that in anti-meta and rush again, honestly. Like, it turns on immediately on turn 3 with huge power. You can also forego a little bit of that to just slap things down turn 1, start applying pressure, and then once you reach that turn 3, call more things down, you bottom deck your monsters, give them power, and then just start going ham. It is a very aggressive play style.
I've noticed that, yeah, definitely.
It just loves to play Vanguard. It's a deck that loves to play Vanguard. If that makes any sense.
Gotcha. All right, let's go over here. Next up, we are going to look at Bafsagra. Honestly,
yeah,
probably put it. I mean, it's playable. It still does its thing. You know, do you have a PG in hand? If so, you're probably going to survive the turn kind of deal. I would toss that in playable. It's decent overall. Shoji Joji. I'm going to put that down here. Yeah,
Nazi play.
Not going to be played.
Just Depresso.
Yeah, big time.
Peace, Bozo Doji.
I'm gonna put. I want to put Eugene kind of at the bottom of like playable high tier struggle. I don't think you're going to see a lot of these at all. However, you might run into one or two. If a deck kind of has trouble building a board, it's okay in general. But against when Ava's sitting around there, I mean, the deck literally just shuts off. So I think it's definitely in struggle right now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It would be playable if not for the dominance of Eva right now. So I think it just has to be struggling.
Probably like the best deck in struggle, just because it's just knocked out by the meta.
Yeah. It could be like a weird off-rogue pick. Over here too, I forgot the name of this guy, but
this is call him Snake. I think it's Megalonozuchi is the name, but I want to just call him Snake. That deck is definitely one of the best decks. I think it is absolutely crazy. I've been messing with it a lot, and we don't actually have him yet, so he's not playable in
that's
English.
The thing. So
but
I'm gonna keep him in this list just because I want to kind of. Yeah, just in case something is released or whatever, but if he is released, I think he's probably high tier A or low.
I would put him in the bottom of S. I'd put him as like one of the 3 decks that will end up putting in S. I don't think it's as good as necessarily Eva.
I mean, his columns are just absolutely insane.
But
it is a turn 3 inlet mag that deck thins like insanely.
It deck thins better than anything else in the game. On either turn 3, if you're going second, or turn 4, you have access to 6 attacks that, even without Persona Ride, they can all hit over a defensive, and it just is absolutely crazy. And you get card draw thanks to the Unprecedented. Definitely deserves to be up there.
Yep. All right, getting up next, I think we should just talk about it before we kind of go through the rest of Dragon Empire over here. I want to put Chronojet up top.
Yeah, no question about it.
No question.
It's
Chronojet's
just
back.
kind of insane. Is what it is. You definitely will see one of these two on pretty much every competitive team, at least in BSF. So just be prepared for that. So definitely going to solidify that up at the top of the S right here. But just to continue onwards, I guess, and we can kind of talk about the finer points of what things go into as we kind of proceed. But grade 4 Nirvana, I'm going to put that near the top of playable.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, again, it struggles a little, especially because of Chronojet's bottom deck and
Yeah.
bottom deck the entire stack. But
That's true. That's true.
It's still playable.
Yeah, it can do its thing.
With the new tools from the Prayer Dragons, yeah.
Yeah. Overlord, considering, you know, the whole promo thing, if we have the promo plus the other, there's like a new one too coming out, right?
It's
Yeah,
confirmed
there's
that
a
we
new
get
one.
the
It's not really used as much, though, I think, at least in my opinion.
I still think it's high tier A. It's definitely a
Yes, I would
competitive
still-
deck.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely very competitive. It is one of the decks I think would fit nicely on as a third with like Chronojet and Eva, which is really the biggest thing about everything A and below is what
Yeah.
your third will be on an ideal team.
Yep.
Where you already have Chronojet and Eva.
No, that's true. Yeah, I've definitely, if you have 1, 2, 3, I think that's definitely a solid lineup overall. Jiva over here, gonna put it low tier struggle.
It's struggling, yeah.
If not, I don't even want to. Maybe I just put it in.
I think it can go
I say
in
D.
struggle. Like,
I think
I
it's gonna be struggle. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on the bottom of
Mhm.
struggle for now.
Mhm.
Tally
Okay.
Hero, I actually think is a pretty good deck. I think it
Mhm.
is solid overall. I think it's definitely in the competitive category.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a rush deck necessarily because
Mhm.
you're susceptible to getting your pieces picked away, but I can kind of see it there as well.
Yeah, it, like sort of is, but I think it's more suited for just being a competitive strong deck, especially
Yeah.
with the new promo.
I mean, yeah, we're assuming you have the promo, which is a whole
That's
nother
when you have it, yeah.
whole
Mhm.
nother issue
Yeah.
over here. So I think that wraps up Dragon Empire. Let's get into some dark states. And while I actually am a fan of this card, I think this is really, really cool in general. Don't think you're gonna see it. I'm gonna put this down over here in the don't see, don't play. This is the promo. I don't even remember its name. So
It's Baffling Hades.
something like that. It's grade 3s going to soul. Triple door, 10k for every 3. I think grade 3s you see in your soul. Weird card. No straight up dedicated support, but there's like weird things that work already. So Barrel Magnus I think is interesting. I would say it's playable.
I'd say
I'd
middle
it's
playable.
Yeah. It is sort of like a rush deck, but it doesn't really rush in the same way that
Yeah.
it needs to
Yep.
beat the best decks. It just
Yeah.
has a strong turn 3 if it can get there.
Yep. Yeah,
Exactly.
so
But
I'm gonna leave it there at the playable. It's definitely not like the worst choice in the world.
yeah,
Um,
its low hand size will definitely be its downfall against the top decks.
Yeah.
But mhm.
Over here, Bruce, the new Bruce coming out. I don't know where to put this in all honesty.
Low B, it's a playable deck. It's fine. You just restand
Yeah.
like Big Eden or Megan columns.
Okay.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Regular grade 3 Bruce. I'm gonna kind of toss it
I'd
around
bet
the
a little higher.
same. I want to say
Yeah.
it's like here probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually like the grade 3 Bruce.
I have played
lot
it a couple
better.
times and like it feels very classic, but at the same time too, like with Julian, it actually feels pretty good. And you can do the Quen Lu thing, right? And like kind of loop that and get the
Yeah,
no
Quenlu's
PGs.
really a lot better in VMNs or in the grade 4. It's a lot better in the grade 4 Bruce, but
It is okay.
grade 3 with Julian just doing these like 6-7 attack combos.
Yeah.
If it wasn't so slow, it would definitely be a lot better.
Where do we put just the pure grade 4 deck now
I
compared?
put that below the 3, maybe even below VMNs.
I'd say right below Vehemence.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
It's a lot more like resource
Yeah,
heavy.
you're right.
and you
You're
just-
right. It's harder to get to that point too. And
Yeah, without Persona Ride, you just go for these like this one big push turn with
Yeah.
like Swirler, Pandemonium, Quenlu.
that is true.
The 3 it's the slowest
Uh,
in a very fast meta.
I think the hybrid one just isn't that great, in all honesty.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's probably in
Easy to
struggle. It's
see.
probably a little better than still
Mhm.
than Jiva, so I'm gonna keep it in C. This is the promo one, right?
Yes, this is Fafnir that we don't have
Don't
yet,
know
the Dear
that
Days
one.
guy.
So we're just gonna toss him in the don't see, don't worry. Greedon, I still think is it might be in like the
I put it,
lowest tier.
honestly, I put it in high
B.
B. I think it's gotten a lot of decent tools, and if you're, it can sort of just like end games pretty quickly if it has the tools to do so.
Yeah.
Turn 3
I can
restand
see
into Twin
it.
Drive is just always
Yeah.
something that's going to be good and standard by the nature of triggers.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
guess,
it
yeah.
did have a pretty decent showing during like BCS season as well.
All
I
right,
think there were
yeah.
maybe even a few that people took to Worlds.
Yeah, I mean these three right here in the front are probably interchangeable, but
Yeah.
now that you mention that, that is right. I did see it a couple times, so I'm gonna defer to you guys on this one too. I don't know exactly where this would go, quite honestly. I think
you
it's
make a
struggle.
A deck that likes soul charging triggers, I just don't think that's ideal. But like
it's
in a nation where you do that anyway, I don't see the downside of it. I'd put it top of C, bottom B.
yeah, I think I agree. I mean, I've seen it in action, and it is a pretty decent payoff. In all honesty, it's a little lacking in support as is, but I'd say C is fine. I don't think it's honestly
Okay.
better than Eugene, but
Okay.
like it's got potential.
Trejeweled, I'm probably gonna toss Trejeweled up here in competitive, assuming we get the new card. It's the promo, right? It's not coming out
Yeah,
in the
the new
set. It's the
promo.
promo. Of course, it's a promo.
Of
Assuming
course,
we
we'll
do get
hear that
that,
a
it
lot.
is actually a really good card, a really good deck. I would probably place it like here or there.
I'd probably put it right in the middle there. I
Video.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Even without
True.
promo to B.
Chaos. It's a personal favorite of mine for Dark States, but definitely I think it's
I
the
think he's
bottom tier. Of
Right behind
struggle.
Eugene, I'd say.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think he has potential, but you're
You
probably
can.
right.
If there's like different ways to, I'm trying to build it like an aggro so I could actually kind of pick at some of the better decks, but I've seen people where they also just include a bunch of the orders and like maybe the late game is a little better, but like you're not going to survive to that point anyway. So I still think there's definitely something there, but it's just not there yet. Luke here.
I'd definitely put it in A, honestly. Just like maybe the
Lugia,
bottom.
really?
I think Lugia is very strong at what it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Toss
Like
that
it
over
gets
there.
4 big attacks, maybe 3 on turn 3 if you don't want to commit the order immediately. But it can do a lot, honestly.
Cool. Bastion, now kind of getting into Keter Sanctuary. I still think Bastion's like playable.
Yeah,
Like, it suffers from the turn 4 slowness, but like or the second grade 3 or second, But
I think I'd put it below Bob's.
Yeah.
Like
As a
it's
Bastion
good.
player, I agree.
you can,
Though,
yeah, you could play it.
maybe even lower this meta, honestly, especially with Obscurade retiring the front row and just how fast Jet and Eva are. Like
That's true.
in a deck that has 0 shield, like it's kind of struggling, honestly, which makes me want to put it even lower. But its raw output once it gets there can be very scary.
I think it just can play its game. It doesn't take a lot to do it. It is simple to pilot too. I still think it's playable enough to kind of keep there. Graham Grace, I actually really like it, but there's just not enough dedicated support. I mean, with the promo, it could be a little bit better. I would probably put it at the bottom of playable, top of struggle, somewhere around there.
I'd probably put it in struggle, even with the one promo. Maybe with the second one that just got revealed, but I don't think we'll have that one in time.
Okay. MLB, I'm going to say. Oh man, I wanna say this is better than it is.
So
yeah, we need.
I'd just put it in D.
D.
I'm not a fan.
I wouldn't say it's worse than Jiva.
No, I definitely wouldn't. I would say it's actually better than a lot of these over here. Because if you play it with the new card, you play it with the grade 3 restander.
That's right. I forgot that we have the 2 new promos now. We've got Emelin and whatever the new one is.
I don't know. Me personally, I'll put it in C because you guys, I want to put it in B somewhere, but I'm gonna toss it.
It belongs in C. I'm sorry.
I think top of C is honestly valid. Like I think it's
somewhere
better
around
than
here, whatever.
Grace
Like kind of,
and
yeah. Maybe we'll swap these out a little bit. Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe we'll swap Graham Grace. Yeah, I think that's more
Mhm.
appropriate. Eugene is still good. Like it does what it wants to do. It has tons of support. It has that promo card too that could really help
Yeah.
also get out the multi attackers. So in the grade
Mhm.
4, but PBO, a very interesting deck actually with the promo. If we
I
get
put it
it,
in anti-meta and rush.
Yeah.
it is an
So I think the
anti-rush.
promo is actually confirmed in the newest pack. I think it just came out. So
Okay.
put that like if we're ordering it at the top of anti-meta and rush, because that deck, I honestly think is
And that
very
promo
crazy.
allows
Jake,
you
I know
to
you've
use
been
the-
testing it.
Go ahead, Jake.
It does some insane stuff, especially you are cycling so much to soul that there's
Yeah.
this card called Reedy. Just go read that on your own time. And then, yeah, it's no brainer to put it in that category.
Okay. I believe you on that.
Mhm.
I always kind of struggled against the rush with that deck period, but
Yeah.
Youth Burke over here, I'm still gonna say this is a competitive deck.
Yeah, it's definitely still competitive. Like
Gonna probably put it somewhere like here.
I put it in between. Honestly, I put it a second, like just under Overlord.
Yeah,
Like it's still really good.
it's
Does what
definitely
it
good.
does. Tempest is still a very crazy card, and so is Sequana.
Yep. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Hexorb, I don't think it's like actually terrible, but I don't suggest playing it. I don't think you're gonna see it, so we're just gonna leave that in D. Minerva, I don't know where to kind of place
It's
it. I
A.
want to say
It's A. I'd
is
say
A?
below Jeweled, above Gravidia. It's very strong. Its ceiling, its ceiling can be up to like 8 attacks.
Wow.
But you probably won't ever do that because it's like 5 CB and you need 4 pieces. But like, even if you're not doing that big, huge combo, like consistently 4 attacks minimum.
Yeah.
Possibly more with solid power to the front row is always good.
Okay, cool. Just leave it there. Thegria, assuming obviously promo stuff too.
How about playable?
I want to say it's like the top playable. I think with the
I
right
agree
pilot,
with
this
that.
is like actually really decent, but
Mhm.
other stuff it's just like a little bit better for like easier reasons, and you have to have a lot of things go your way. Kind of, I wouldn't be surprised to see it by any means, and like if somebody knows how to recycle and like actually play the deck, I think it could be a little bit higher, but in general, probably gonna put it in like the top of B. So yeah, it's just my personal. Moving on to the lyrical decks, very interesting. Clarissa has a
Clarissa's D.
good matchup against Jet though. That's like the weird thing, I think. Was it Jet or pretty sure it was against Jet that it actually, I was reading something where it had like a good but we're not really gonna dwell on that. Fortia, I want to say it's at like the bottom of playable. If your opponent can't snipe your board, just a restanding Vanguard in and of itself is pretty annoying. It can get some sweet numbers. The general support is very decent for it. I've actually given it a lot of play testing, a little too much probably for what it's worth. But so Outer Orange also playing around with this was actually really decent. I think it's fun. I think you can play it. It probably won't see it, but I don't think it's struggling necessarily. And I think it can still play through its own game, so it kind of puts it in the playable category.
I can agree with that.
Wellstra, I'm not going to dwell on this. This is
Wellstra.
Wellstra. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, I think all these like set 1 lyrical decks that haven't seen support are in there.
This is
the bunny,
not playable. Yeah, the bunny's like very much not playable. This actually needs to go like here.
This is
the lyrical
Highlander cat.
It's funny and guilty.
Yeah,
I don't really
that's
know it.
the entry promo. I don't think it's playable right now, unfortunately.
Oh man, this is
a hybrid between Kyrie and
this is
Yoka?
This is the Friends build. The Friends.
Oh, Friends. Okay.
I still think it's decent. I still think it's
yeah. Like Kyrie still isn't like bad.
I think it's hanging out with these 5 over here. I think. I'm gonna consider that like the main Kyrie build. I don't know what this other grade 4 is. I know that there's like the promo now. I don't know. This is kind of still hanging out. Like let's just say it's there.
Place.
Yeah. How do you say this deck? I forgot off the top of my head.
Kyoka? I think that's Kyoka, right?
Kyoka probably is actually like over here somewhere.
Yeah, that's the magazine one.
Yeah, it recycles a lot. It actually has decent numbers. I don't think it's terrible. I really don't. I think you might see this in like very off chance. Again, another deck out of orange actually covers a lot, and it's relatively affordable, I think, overall, if you have the key pieces already, unfortunately. But the main core of it is pretty affordable, just FYI. I think it's probably over here.
I don't hate that.
Yeah.
All right. Lower and roll right now is...
I'd put it on the bottom of struggle. Like,
It's
unlike the
tough.
rest of the set 1/1s, it can technically still do its thing. Though, especially with the new Blitz order, like,
That's the
it's
thing.
one
I think
thing
just
it had
shuts
going
it
for
down.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
tough.
gone.
I still don't think it's worse than Jiva.
You might be right, honestly. Yeah.
Lutetia, I think, is
Letitia's
actually competitive.
Top half,
Yeah.
Top half. Right, let's put it here.
Probably level 3.
Yeah, I'd put
I
it
want to
there.
say just because it's kind of a little bit more proven than some of the other ones, especially in the English meta. So it's going to be hanging out, I think. Like any 1, 2, and any of these 3, assuming we don't get this guy, I think it's just like a killer squad. Yeah, that's any one of these 3 are kind of up for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think even Welstra and Minerva are good picks as well, for sure.
Yeah, I could see that. Midel, just gonna toss it there. It's not playable.
Yeah. Mewtwo's actually decent. I put that in high B.
It did get the promo too.
Yeah, it did. Unfortunately, it's a lot more expensive now because of the promo, and a lot of the triple rare prices shot up since we didn't get the Hololive reprints.
Oh my god, I started collecting the some of the triple rares for this, and it's just been I've been trying to trade around. It's been a nightmare. I think this deck, oh man, it's actually pretty fun, but you can't. It's not playable. I wouldn't put any weight into the actual order down here. I'm just tossing stuff.
Yeah, no.
I'm gonna say this is kind of
I know you messed with that one.
I actually really like it as a budget deck, but it's just it's not competitively viable at the moment.
Same with Felty and Celestial.
Terrible. Celestial. I think it could rogue a lot of matchups out. I want to kind of like put this at the bottom of struggle.
I hate that actually. It can do some funny things.
I want to even still say it's better than Jiva. I think it's better than Laurel right now. Okay, I'm happy with it here.
I definitely think it's better than Laurel. Yeah,
he can actually do quite a bit. Getting into some of the collab sets, I'm gonna put this one down over here. I just don't know enough about it, and I don't think it's actually even worth discussing. That's kind of what this break is right here. Let's go ahead and look at Yo. Yo is
top C. It does its thing.
It really does.
It does its thing.
And the whole thing is
a little struggling though.
It rushes though.
Recently.
Like it's one of the better rush decks in the format right now.
Does it can it search out its like back row thing that like has the descendant skill?
Yeah, off of the ride line it does.
So it only does it once though.
The descendant thing? No, not that one.
I mean,
are you talking about the restanding one, the grade 2 or whatever? No, you can't search that.
One that. Oh yeah,
the grade 1 you can search out. The restander you cannot, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, because if that gets bottom decked by Jet, that just feels like really bad. I think.
There's that, but you do go through and search your deck, so you do shuffle the deck, and you could also, it's anything with a Midamaru, whatever the name, so you can use your triggers too. To satisfy that, so it's really not like the worst. I want to say it's like hanging out in B, but at the same time it is a rush deck. I still don't think it's going to be. I think it's playable. I want to put it like.
I can't disagree with that.
I want to put it like here. It's low tier playable. It's not struggling. It has that and like rush thing going for it, but I don't know. It's not like great, obviously. Tauren, I did want to just at least kind of leave up here and include and talk about, just because I've seen it before. It did top like a BCS like last year or something. I think it's retire, and it's like power. The Vanguard power column is like actually insane. It's probably like the bottom of struggle, but I don't want to be like don't play it, because I feel like it has the potential to rogue some stuff out, in all honesty, and with like
anything that's weak to control,
it
just handles that perfectly.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Right. And now we get to make a new tier. We got the best deck here,
this
the
is
real
actually
best deck.
Best deck format.
So this is going to be Poseidon tier. Oh no, what the heck?
No, you made that one. the blue one, but whatever.
They spell Poseidon. Poseidon like that?
EI, not IE.
Yeah, whoops. I switched
But,
those. There we go.
All right,
So
yeah, this is the
Poseidon
real
is
best deck.
actually the best
It's
deck.
got
Go check
triple
out my
drive.
profile. It's the best. All right, now we're gonna nuke that, but I'm gonna say it's like right here. I honestly don't think it's like terrible.
It's definitely still like playable. It deck thins, got triple drive.
Exactly.
It's Shadow Paladins.
It's literally blue Shadow Paladin. Like, it's actually so much fun. Getting into, ironically, like, it's weird, but it's been like my favorite nation, I guess, in Overdress, oddly enough. Stoichia, Flagberg, I'm gonna consider
Competitive.
I do think it's
Probably the midpoint of competitive.
I put it below Minerva. Oh, I put it right above Minerva, I think.
Because it's some serious stuff. It puts on some pressure. There's multiple ways you can build it too. So you have like the rogue element. You can just do it the regular way. It's a very it's a good deck. I think it's actually really good. This the furry deck I think is here.
Yeah, that is like the token rush deck, like both tokens and metaphorically. Like it can make like a full board from turn 2 with the tokens, and that converts it all into the noblesse and just goes ham with 4 big attacks from turn 3 onward.
Yeah, no, I agree. Leonore, I'm gonna put it at like the bottom of struggle, probably.
It's rough. That deck's rough.
Yeah.
It's like weird though, because like there's gonna be points where like, oh, I don't have a PG in hand. You know, they have like a 45k Vanguard swinging at me, like whatever. I'll just let this one through. Crit. Like, it's kind of stupid to say it's based on like luck like that, but it can cheese out the wins. It does have powerful columns. The multi-attacking is not great. It's struggling, but I don't want to say it's like completely like obscure. Like somebody will probably be playing it. It's a cool archetype, and I guess visually, Maelstrom I think is pretty good. I think it's probably
definitely not as good as Flagberg, but I think it's somewhere in B. It's a little piece reliant.
I'd like to say it has a higher floor, lower ceiling.
Yeah. I think it's consistent, I feel like. I mean, it's again the same thing with like Flagberg though. Okay. This is great. No, this is grade 3. I'm gonna say the grade 3 build is not great. I don't think that it's
got some pieces. I'd put it above that, maybe like below Chaos, above the Dragon Tree. Honestly, because it has some decent pieces, but it's just not as good as the grade 4.
Do we have the card that allows the back row to get the Persona ride too?
That was in set 7.
Yeah. So, it's okay. It's okay. It's really not worth dwelling on. You might see this, but it's not the greatest. I still think Magnolia is good.
Yeah, I'd put it high B, maybe even the bottom of competitive, the very bottom, but
I was gonna say
it's still
the bottom,
a little slow.
Just, it is like farms decently. Like it's got inlet pulse back. With the right luck, I feel like it actually could be very good. But again, it's like, you know, am I hitting a defensive trigger? If not, like, that whole kind of situation. I'm gonna toss it here though. I do think with inlet pulse back, it's not that bad. Rorowa, I want to say is actually playable.
Yeah, I think for sure. It also can do a little bit of rush going on, but like if you're playing a plant-based rush deck, you just play Granthea. So Rorowa does have other unique tools to it, like it's a promo order. So I think it's very playable.
Okay, yeah. Are you cool with that, Jake, in the middle over there?
Yeah.
I think that's about right. Red Zorga. I'm gonna defer to both Zorgas because I never know where to put them. Because
I'd probably put them in struggle. Like they can do some funny things. They're very interesting decks, but they just don't do enough to get wins. And especially, like with Jet running around, if you let your Prison Dragons get bottom decked, like it's just struggle street because you're not getting those back really.
Yeah, that's true. That's true actually. Okay, cool. So we're gonna keep that there. So breaking it down, and just a heads up too, this is part 1 of a 2-part video. We're gonna have a second part of our video where we basically go into it and kind of discuss ideal teams and different strategies kind of going into Springfest. So if you are interested in that, make sure to hit that like button, continue to subscribe to the channel, and you will get more awesome content like that. But just to recap over here, we definitely say these are the best decks. I think Chrono Jet number 1, Ava number 2, whatever, the dragon, the worm guy, Snake over here. I'm gonna call him Snake. Solid Snake. Solid. Competitive. I don't think there's any. Yeah, I would say these are all solid. These are this is probably the order of competitiveness, I would say.
Yeah, for the most part.
I mean, some of these are interchangeable too. Don't, this is just our opinion. Forgot to kind of give that disclaimer early on, but anti-meta rush. You got Orphist, Monsters. Would you put Granfia over Monsters?
Yeah, I put Granfia as the top deck in that. If we're ordering it, I think it's Granfia, PBO, Orphist, Archetype.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Cool. I don't disagree with that. I think Orphist is pretty cool, but with the promo, I think PBO is actually probably going to take a spot, yeah. Playable, I definitely think Dagger is kind of on the borderline of playable and competitive, but I think playable, top of playable probably is correct. She's good.
Looks pretty good.
Nirvana, maybe I'm rating a little high, I think. Would I rather play I might still even rather play Kyrie.
You'd probably rather play Kyrie.
Yeah. I would rather play Nirvana than Greedon in most cases. Barrow, I might move up a little bit. Crow, I think is okay. Bruce, it kind of gets a little murky over here, but
yeah, I mean, once you
really
get to these lower tiers, it's really like,
it's tough.
It, especially when it comes to a team tournament, it's probably we're gonna have a better option.
Yep, no,
something in the S or A, or even high B. Yeah,
and I'm not gonna go to. I think over here, this one I'm not even not bothering with. These are also just collabs down here. I don't think they're even worth mentioning at this point. And Midal's Bear, the Bear is probably S tier, but aside from that, don't play the deck. Cool. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, let us know down below. Let us know if you would change anything on this list. And again, if you need anything else, let us know. This is Alex from Team Generations signing out.